Hey, I'm Emma Garlett and welcome to Paint It Black. It's that time of year again when the AFL Grand Final rolls around. This year, the Brisbane Lions take on the Collingwood Magpies at the MCG on Saturday. We Aussies love our football, but did you know that football has Aboriginal origins? It is believed that AFL is inspired by mangrook, which is a Gunditjmara word for game ball. The ball, made from twine and twisted possum hair, was then dropped and kicked for players to try and catch. Footy is a huge part of the psyche of our nation, especially in cities like Melbourne where the grand final will be played, and out here in the bush. For those in the cities, footy is normally a bit of fun for the weekend, but for those in the bush, like Carnarvon footy legend Ken Phillips, footy is so much more than just a game.
If I didn't play football, I'd probably be in a gutter or drunk or an alcoholic or a druggie. But football is a sport. If you started at any type of sport you start at a very young age, you get adapted to it. You just continue it. It becomes your hobby, your saviour.
Football fosters a sense of community, bringing people together to watch the game.
I guess my highlights of my career was kicking 100 goals in a season. But I'm the only warrior that's played in 3 premierships, winning premierships ever in the history of the club. So they were my biggest highlights, playing in those 3 grand finals, winning fairest and best, the Lou Burns medal, the Sunday Times medal. To win all those in one season is no one's ever done.
Now, Keno is focused on helping youngsters in Carnarvon.
So definitely what we're doing is we're working with the disengaged youth at risk. So to us, all youth are at risk. So we'll have a partnership with the police because it's confidential to have those kids' names, but the police, they bring them along to some of our programs. And it keeps them off the street in that period of time, and they're having a go at a sport and they get fed, 7 o'clock at night or whatever. Then our buses take the kids home.
That's how Daryl White, a triple premiership player for the Brisbane Lions, got his start.
Oh, yes!
But he was one of these kids here. He had a group called the Bird Killers. So he was a leader of this group of kids.
Daryl and his mates would play up, kicking streetlights and getting into trouble. That was before Keno found out he had a love for football and sent him to South Fremantle. And let's just say the rest is footy history.
Now, don't tell me. What did I say? What did I say?
For some of our mob, football doesn't only stop people going down a dangerous path, it also is a way to be connected to family.
It was my dad. Yeah, definitely comes back to my dad. He was a big inspiration growing up when it came to footy because he gave me definitely that mentality of it didn't matter if I was a girl or not, I could still play footy. I was faster, I was stronger, and I always had that mindset because of him. My mum was a big influence in that as well, being strong in who I was.
Local woman Tiana Oxenham took her love for the game and connection with family to Melbourne when she moved there for university.
Playing for Trinity College, so in the intercollegiate sports. Won 3 premierships in a row, so that was pretty cool. Really loved it.
But it hasn't been without its challenges.
I do still think racism is there. I've copped it a little bit on the footy field, but I think that's everywhere you go. It doesn't matter if you're in sport or if you're at work.
Unfortunately, this is an all too common experience for many of our football players, including Nicky Winmar, Cyril Rioli, Eddie Betts and Adam Goods. The AFL have admitted there's still a long road ahead on how we can tackle racism both on and off the field. But Tiana is optimistic about the future of football.
I grew up and there was no women's league at all. There wasn't even women's team in just in your local football clubs. I was watching the Matildas and how much everybody backed them in the worlds like that. That spun me out, and I think if we can get that happening more for the women's sport in general, it's going to go a long way.
Tiana had this to say to young girls wanting to play football.
Take every opportunity that you can and really go for it, but also have fun and don't put too much pressure on yourself.
So while you're watching the AFL Grand Final this weekend, It's important to remember that AFL can help Aboriginal people thrive and succeed. And there's many organisations around that do this, such as Clontarf Aboriginal Foundation. Thanks for watching Paint It Black with me, Emma Garlett. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.